Welcome to my studio. I'm Miriam Joy, and today we're going to be working on a springtime clay pot, just in time for our nice spring fun. And in another video I'm also going to turn this into a little egg tree when we're done. So the possibilities are unlimited. So the first thing I do is I took a terracotta pot and I sprayed it or sealed it with Krylon. It doesn't matter if it is satin or gloss. That helps to be able to pull the strokes, and that the pot doesn't want to just absorb the wax right on, and helps you get the design on it. Now I'm going to be using for this project carnation pink, dandelion yellow, yellow green, and I'm going to be using purple with a little bit of white into it. That's how I get my lighter purple. On this one I used a dark green with a lighter green, and I'm not going to do that on the one I'm going to do, but this is just a regular green with the yellow green, and that is how that one is done, which I prefer this a little bit lighter. That gives you a total of 5 colors, and right now I've only got 4 melting pots in front of me. You can switch it out, it's not a big deal. I'm just gonna go forward with that today. I'm going to be using the number 1 tool, the smaller end, and the number 0 tool, the larger end today. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and put our pink on. I'm not going to get into the wax technique because there's so much to explain about that if you've never done this process before. If you haven't, please jump over to my website at miriamjoy.com, and there are some videos on there that you can purchase to learn how to do the process. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to make strokes, and I tell you right away that we're going to switch up size. That's one really nice thing about working with different tools, is you can tell right away that we want to change sizes here. So I'm going to check and see if it knows that there's any wax on there. You can scrape it off with your hobby knife. And all we're doing is just a little stroke, like a comma stroke, nice and curved. You can measure it out more if you want to measure it out. Try and be a little bit more even and exact than I'm trying to be here today. And all of my colors were in the 24 pack. If I didn't explain that, I try and keep that so you can just go grab them. You know exactly where they're at. You don't have to go searching for a color. There are a lot of fun springtime Crayola colors. Now on your last one, think about if you need 2 or what you need to do between there. We can do some little dots or something to add that little space in there, so we're not going to worry about that. The next thing I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to stay with this number 1 I think right now. I'm using a small end on the number 1, and I'm going to use my dandelion, and the only reason I'm stirring my color is I let it sit there for a while. And we're just doing dots, and we're doing dots right where it went down onto where it's going down, and we kind of have a place for the dot there. You just use your imagination and do these however you want to do. And this is that area where we had some space, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little fleur-de-lis in there. Make it look like it was supposed to be that way. So another thing you could do in these sections is put the fleur-de-lis in there if you wanted to. And I call this my little tulip design. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come in with our purple and that little bit of light to lighten it up. And I'm going to try the same tool. We'll see if I need to go smaller. And you're just going to stroke one side up, and then we're going to come in here and I'm going to put the other side up. And then what I do with my tulips is I do 2 strokes going this way. The trick is not to do them above the top of the tulip, and that makes them look more like a tulip. And I'm going to try and make this one just a little bit smaller so that you've got that tulip design. And I actually should come in with this one and remove it and make that one just a little bit I didn't load him as well as I should have, and that's what makes your strokes smaller when you do that. So I'm going to put a lower one now, a higher one and a lower one. And we're going to come in here, and I'm going to try and do this upside down. You should be pulling this towards you. Now I'm going to tell you a trick that I normally don't tell people to do in classes because I don't want them to get into the process of it. Now this stroke I want bigger, but this next stroke I want a little bit smaller. So I'm going into the corner of my melting pot and just a little bit down so I pick up less wax. I normally don't try to get you in the habit of doing that, but if you need just a little bit less wax, that is kind of a trick. And we're going to do that one. You could also sneak over to your other tool there and do that as well, as to go down to your number 0, the big end, and come in with that smaller tool and make that smaller stroke and just do those all at one time if that's simpler for you. So we're putting all of these tulips on. And you could make these red, you could make them yellow, you could make them whatever color you wanted them. So we're going to do, you just don't want them all the same length. And I kind of did more top and bottom because it's a little bit harder for me working up above than below. But if you were at home, you might want to kind of think about 3 different sections as well. One kind of more in the middle. You don't want to go too low because you want your stem there. So okay, we've got all of those on, and I actually think I'm going to switch over and use even the larger end of this for my stems and leaves here. So I'm going to let this warm up just a bit, and I'm only stirring the crayon because I've had it setting for a while. Otherwise we should not be stirring that. Now we're going to come in here and we're going to put these stems just on all of these tulips on the end. If you run off the pot, run off the pot. And see where we left that space a little bit open? We didn't meet that when we were making our tulip, and that gives us room for that stem to come up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come up from the bottom or a little bit up. It doesn't have to be the bottom. And we're going to add some leaves now. Make them look like tulip leaves. And I've got to turn that a bit. If I'm up here, my stroke wants to run away on me, so I'm going to have to turn that a little bit. And you don't have to have a leaf on every one of them, or 2 or 3. You want to kind of keep it here and there. Nature's flowers are always odd. They're never even. So we're getting those tulip. And this is great for tulip leaves. They really look more like the tulip leaves. I just had some wonderful tulips for Valentine's Day from my wonderful husband. So I was able to look at them and kind of see and make sure we were doing it right. And you can do one if you don't want it quite up as far as that. Okay, so we've got all of our little tulips going on. And then we're going to do something, we're going to add a little bit more texture down at the bottom with it. And I'm going to use the stipple brush. And this is one of the newer things that I've been using. And the nice thing about the stipple brush is that when you're working and your wax kind of overspills on the top, that's enough wax for this. So I'm just going to go and get that little bit of wax up on that second level, and we're just going to put some here and there. Now this is where I was talking about if you did the leaves in the green and then did this in the light yellow green to have the 2 different greens. I like the 2-tone effect. But see, this gives you just a little bit, and not only that is you don't have to have the insert to be using this, and you can just put it on there, and also you can make it just finer. Just if you have a spot that goes on too heavy, just keep working it before it dries and it'll go on finer, but then you get that kind of nice foliage look that we're looking for. So we're going to come in here and we're going to do our yellow dots now, and this is dandelion, and I'm going to stick with the same size tool that I used here. I'm going to use my number 1, the small end. So I did go up here and I haven't used my number 0 at all, and we're just going to do a descending dot, and this is just to brighten the design up here and there where we just need a little bit of color. And I think I'm kind of doing it above my low tulips so that we just give it that extra little sparkle. You can also come in and put 1 or do whatever, but don't get stuck in thinking just, you know, my design, and don't get stuck thinking this small. Do a bigger terracotta pot. It'd be real pretty with the roses on it that we've been working with as well. So thank you for taking time to come and view our little video today. Let me know if you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about this process, please email me at art@miriamjoy.com. You can get any of the products that you need on my website at miriamjoy.com. And also there's a Facebook link. You don't have to be a member of Facebook. Just pop over there. We're always working on projects like this, or all of our Easter eggs are going on in our contest during Easter. And also under the YouTube videos, if this is the only one you've seen, there's a bunch of them under there that you can jump on over, and they're just fun projects to help you through the Easter holiday or all the different holidays and different tips and techniques. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day and a warmer spring. God bless.